Drowning in content chaos? Viral Gen is the lifeboat. Type in a biz idea, pick niche, audience, platform, goal, tone, then hit generate. Boom! Hooks pop up like magic. Pro scripts and agency strategies? Locked and loaded. Dive into metrics like a pro. It's like having a content wizard in your pocket. Start a free trial at getviralgen.io and let the AI do the heavy lifting.
Struggling to keep up with content trends? Viral Gen AI platform is the game changer. Log in, upload, boom! Instant viral-worthy content ideas. With its AI-driven insights and creative prompts, it's like having a genius content buddy who never sleeps. Perfect for creators craving fresh, engaging posts without the burnout. Tried it once? Now it's like caffeine for creativity. Dive in and level up your content game today.
Stop posting content that sounds good, but doesn't convert. Your content problem is really a strategy problem. ViralGen turns your idea into hooks, scripts, audience insight, conversion strategy. Get niche-aware output in seconds. Free gets you started. Pro unlocks scripts. Agency unlocks full cash bridge strategy. Start your free trial. Getviralgen.io.
Hi. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
I'm doing great, Jale. How you're doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Firstly, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to present you on my show.
Thank you for considering me and our organization. That means a lot, really.
So I've gone through a profile. I can see you're doing great work. So I thought to tell about your work to my audience.
Oh, that's wonderful. Let's do it. Let's get to it.
So can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Oh, sure I can. I'm Jale Kerimol Johnson, and I'm the COO of Myrina nonprofit. And we are a nonprofit in Washington State, a very young nonprofit in Washington State, that our goal is to give virtual 18 plus months free addiction treatment to individuals who are ready to change their lives. And also our secondary goal is to be able to pay our clinicians a living wage and let them enjoy what they do the most, is helping people, and try to raise the new generations with them. Yes.
What kind of addiction?
All kinds of addiction. Addiction is actually one. Okay, when people are talking about addictions, they usually mistake substance abuse or gambling or emotional addictions like codependency, etc., like they're separate diseases. They're not. They're actually under the same umbrella of addiction. The differences is how that person actually triggers their disease to make them feel good in life, and to make them feel that they belong in life, and to make them feel better about their own issues. And it's like a self-medication process, if you want to put it in a nutshell. So addictions is not 10 diseases, it's only one. The differences start with the individual choosing which one fits their needs better.
So when this organization started, and how many people have you actually supported till now?
Unfortunately, we started 4 years ago. I'm still trying to find the funding to open our virtual clinic and start hiring our clinicians. And that has been a tough road, because usually in the nonprofit world, the way that you get funding is you have to show impact for getting grants. So our model is completely different. What we did is we got the cart before the horse. So I need the clinicians to be able to show impact. So we're a bit different, because we're not charging people when they get therapy. We are giving them long-term therapeutic and life skills support. So for me to be able to do that, I need to hire people. And because it's a different model for nonprofit work, we're having a hard time trying to secure the funding to be able to hire people.
So in these 4 years, I'm sure you might have seen humans addicting to different things. So
Yes.
what all those and how you actually help them in coming out of it?
Okay. Cyber world and social media and gaming and the that world that people are in, that is a very big issue right now, especially with young people. Okay. Yes, we do everything online. We do have a presence online, but when we move ourselves from the real world and just be online as human beings, that's when the problems start to begin. And IT addiction, let's put it that way, is a big problem. And with that, overeating has become a big problem because people don't do things outside. They're in front of their screens all the time and they eat. Quick fix. They don't even prefer to go outside and, do food shopping or, cook for themselves, etc., etc. They just go online again, order some food for themselves. It's a quick fix. They just eat and then they go back to whatever they're doing. It's one of those things. It hijacks your natural needs in a way that it poses a problem. Betting and gambling is a big problem amongst especially young people nowadays because everybody's trying to find a quick fix for their economic problems. So we've been seeing those a lot. And human-to-human relationships. It's not on mutual ground lately. This is called codependency. It's on control or being submissive, right? And that has always been a problem for a very long time, but we're seeing it more and more in the outside world. The more that we're in camps, the more that we are unwilling to listen to each other. What happens is we prefer our echo chambers, and once we stay in those echo chambers, there's a dominant person in that echo chamber, and then there's the followers, right? And individuality starts crumbling up. There's sex addiction and sports addiction. Those two things, they are also, instead of having our healthy sexual needs in a healthy way, what happens is the online portals, online interactions hijacks that also, and person-to-person communication is not there because of taboos, because of other reasons, and then bam, we have a bigger problem, and that's called sex addiction. So, I can talk about this for 2 hours, but I know you don't want me to. So, yeah, these are the problems. It's not only substance abuse, it's not only alcohol and drugs, but unfortunately, they get the more traction because it's the most talked about. But actually, when you put it in clinical terms, they're the easiest to deal with, believe it or not.
So what is mean by addiction? When
Addiction,
something is called as addiction, is there any specific times that a person does something, then you call that as an addiction?
a colleague of mine and someone that I've spent some time with at Rutgers University, Joel Dispenza, he came up with this very good explanation what addiction is. So if you have a behavior or um, or a feeling and you can't control it and it controls you, that means you're addicted to it. Simple. It's as easy as that. It's not only putting something in your body, it's feelings and behaviors too, like on that level. So addictions is a mechanism that it's embedded in us that we trigger with unhealthy behaviors and feelings that it hijacks our mechanism and becomes the sole purpose of our lives that we can't control. And it happens in a period. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens in a period. It's got different components to it. It's not only biological, it's psychological, it's neuropharmacological, it's genetic, it's social, right? Just looking at it from one perspective doesn't explain the complexity of addictions, right? Oh, we're just going to treat it biologically. Okay, but that's one leg of the chair. You know, you have to deal with all four legs if you want to be able to sit on this chair and give people a chance to be able to change their lives. So that's what addiction is.
How does this therapy works? How can they stop doing something with the therapy?
First of all, we can use a lot of different things for addictions therapy, but the main thing is it has to be consistent and it has to be long term. Everybody's change doesn't happen in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or 2 months. Okay, change comes slowly according to that person's circumstances. In addictions, what we see usually is either people try to get help at the very beginning of the use and abuse and their situation, or at the very end. So when they come to the very end, usually they don't have the funds or they don't have the means to be able to engage in therapy because they're broke, they've lost their families, their jobs, and there are other things that could have happened to them. They were in a criminal circle or not, you know. So when we look at this, we're looking at people that are either beginning this cycle or they are at the end of this cycle. And it depends on which cycle you catch these people. If you catch it in the beginning, brilliant, right? I mean, we can help them rebuild themselves easily. But if we catch them at the end, there's already a built-in personality there that is working against themselves, right? So therapy needs to be, in a way, in 3 months' time, you need to get them to an abstinence, stop the behavior that is hurting them, help their families also, and then start building that person back up by maintaining control of the behavior or the use or the abuse. So it takes about 18 months if the person is really ready to change their lives. We have to be able to work who they are, where they belong, and what they can do, and integrate all of those three systems into their lives, that they can maintain the disease, not become inactive again, and just grow, right? And this takes a lot of work. This takes a team, and this is what works. I mean, I've been working like this for 30 years, and this is the only way I know how to help people. And this is something that people don't do anymore because of limitations on the systems, limitations because of funding, the client doesn't have the money, limitations on how the different health systems work for different parts of the family. So we are trying to hijack all of that with Myrina's model to be able to, you know, if you're ready to change your life, here we are, and this is how we're going to do this. And the other thing is we're doing it virtually because it's easier for the client and it's easier for the therapist. Right? If they're in their comfort zones in their lives, it's easy for them. Oh, not everybody could do virtual. You know, some addictions need medical treatment, detox, maybe an inpatient like 4 weeks to 6 weeks, or maybe 3 months of inpatient treatment because of their conditions. Those people, they start with the inpatient, and we will actually in Myrina, if they come to us, if they need that, we will refer them to a clinic where they are and how they can get help according to their budgets and stuff. And when they get out of the clinic, we will give them 18 months of, support on a therapeutic and life skills way, so they can lift themselves up from the ground. Maybe we won't be able to help hundreds of people, but we will be able to help, 10 people or 50 people properly. That's the goal. That's the goal.
So after 8 months, they are going to stop everything.
18 months.
Yeah.
After 18 months, if they remain in therapy for 18 months, and if they stop the behavior that is hurting them, and do the work on themselves, they get the control back. I mean, I've done that. I've been in recovery for 30 years myself, and this coming June, 5th of June, I'll be celebrating my 30 years. So, I mean, if it wasn't doable this way, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you, and I wouldn't have been a clinician for 30 years. It's already proven with my clients, with the people that I know that have been in long-term treatment or long-term sobriety or long-term recovery. You just have to give people the chance for them to be able to work on themselves. Because there's one mistake, Sai, that is, we are treating people and we are curing people, okay? And that is the biggest bullshit on the planet, okay? What you're doing is you're providing the ways and the know-how and the medicine and the medical interventions that that person needs to learn to help themselves. If they're not willing to help themselves, if they're not willing to learn how to keep themselves healthy, no matter what you do, yeah, you can save their lives medically, right? You can interview up to a point, but if they do the follow-up, they're just going to remain where they are. So us clinicians, us caretakers, right? We're actually teachers to help people learn to take care of themselves in the long run.
So in these 4 years, what kind of what type of addiction that you have actually supported? I mean, people coming to you virtually, and what all types?
All kinds. In the 30 years that I've been in the field, I've seen all kinds of addictions. I've seen poly addictions, triple addictions, they have 3 of them together, they have 2 of them together, and the characteristics of the disease is that, right? It's never one, right? You hijack one of them, you take the person into recovery, and like a year later, they develop something else because the disease wants to be alive, and it manipulates that person to find a way to feed it. Look at it like a naughty dragon living inside of you, okay? And it needs to be fed, okay? You stop giving it alcohol, it's going to, after a while, change itself and say, oh, please give me sugar, please give me sugar. You stop giving it sugar, and then it's going to say, I can do gambling maybe. You can do a bet. Easy money. Come on, let's do that. So the most important thing is that we need to teach our clients not to switch seats on the Titanic. I mean, the Titanic is the addiction. And if you're just, going up and down the stairs and to different, to different levels of the boat while it's sinking, that's not recovery. The recovery is for you to get off of the ship and find a way to recover from life without hurting yourself. That's the main idea, really.
So, is it possible for a person to stop everything completely who got addicted for something for a long time?
I'm here. I'm here, and I have so many friends that they have done that. There are so many people that have been in long-term sustainable recovery around the world. All we have to do is give a chance to those people with systems that doesn't require thousands of dollars or doesn't limit you only to 6 weeks of treatment. We just have to give them a chance in a way that they will have that time, space, and availability for them to change their lives. Look, everybody thinks addicts are con people, right? They think addicts are, they just take and take and take, right? Actually, that's the disease. We have to separate the person from the disease, okay? The person is underneath the disease. And once you stop the disease, you get to meet the real person. And trust me, 90% of the time, addicts are very emotional, very nice people, unless they have a secondary diagnosis and some other characteristics, right? And I had some clients when I was back in Europe and in Turkey, like they used to run out of money, right? In the middle of things. And I used to say, forget about the money. Okay, carry on doing your treatment with me. And when the time comes, you can pay me back. And if I had 10 clients like this, right, 9 of them did pay me back. So what does that tell you, right? You just give people a chance. And then they reach up to a certain point and they turn their lives around. You cut the generational part of addictions from their families, so that family has a chance, their children has a chance not to activate addiction or not to look at life from the addiction's perspective, right? And once they get there, it's such a powerful feeling for us as clinicians also, and for those people also. And even if they can't pay you back because they're living, I had clients say, oh, do you need a mentor for like for your new clients? You know, my age maybe. I've been in sustainable recovery for several years now. Maybe do you think I can help somebody else alongside with you, like peer to peer? You're more than welcome. Addicts are not conmans. They become conmans. They become this personality because the disease pushes them that way. And it's very sad. It is very sad. But
In the beginning of the conversation, you have mentioned IT also, the social media and IT.
yeah,
There are also humans who are getting addicted to the internet and the computers and all. And as a technologist, I'm curious what you're going to say about this. In last 10 years, the IT industry has grown up and almost half of the world is in the internet and now in the social media. So how do you see this and uh, what kind of clients that came to you with this kind of an addiction?
right. Usually young people or people who are retired. Okay. That's the two categories that I would put that in. Um, Young adults, not very many, to be honest, because they have to work and they have to support themselves. But there are some young adults that live with their parents and they're not working. Then it becomes a problem also. So what happens is addiction is about neurobiology and neuropharmacology, right? And when we look at the screen, it triggers all of that feel good brain chemistry in our body, and you get addicted to it. Okay, that's the dynamic. So gaming, being online, doom scrolling, and everything like that, it just hijacks our brain chemistry, and you carry on doing it all the time. Okay? And unfortunately, we can't live in a world that we don't use social media. We can't live in a world that if we don't use virtual reality, right? You're a tech guy, you know. I mean, I'm working online also. I'm trying to open a virtual clinic online also, right? There's no escaping it. I'm a gamer, believe it or not. Okay, I've been a gamer on PlayStation since 90s, right? Okay, and I still do play my games. Like after this conversation, I'm going to go downstairs and play my game, right? So, but I don't let it hijack me because I know when that dynamic shifts, right? And if that shifts, I'm a great candidate to become a gamer. Like I can sit and I can be playing my game, doom scrolling or, doing whatever for hours and hours and hours. And I know that potential. And I don't live my life online, right? I actively try to, when I finish work, I close the computer. I don't put it in sleep mode. I actually close it. Because with sleep mode, you can go da da da, it's open again, right? And I put my phone away, I put it on silent, I grab a book, and I go into this mini detox for myself. Or I start listening to audiobooks, things like that. So we can detach ourselves and put the plug into nature or some of the things that we are doing. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. All right.
So in this 30 plus years of experience being in this field and industry, I'm sure you might have gone through a lot of research studies regarding the addiction and also a lot of publications or the experts or the scientists who talk about the addiction. So overall, so what you have understood about addiction and why humans are into this,
We
no matter
all
what that addiction is.
we all are recovering from life. From the moment that we are born, we come to this world screaming. Why is that? Because we're out of our mother's womb that is nice and cozy, okay, and it's comfortable, and somebody takes us out of that and introduces to a cold, loud, bright environment, right? And it's a shock, okay? It's a trauma. That's why we scream bloody murder when we come into this world, okay? And it helps us open our lungs also. Everything that we live in life is a test that we need to learn to cope with, okay? And sometimes people have to live through things that they can't cope with. So what they do is they find a way to make themselves feel better, to escape their own realities. Or they are so lonely that they need to belong somewhere and they don't feel that they belong in their own environment, right? They seek other ways to, make them feel that they belong. Those are the two components of addiction, okay? And we have to teach individuals how to feel that they belong. But first of all, they need to find themselves, right? Not what people want them to be, not what their parents want them to be, okay? But find themselves, who they are and where they belong and what they can do in life. And give them strength, give them the tools to do that. And if they have something that they need help from, like some kind of trauma or, some kind of life difficulty, we need to be able to equip those people before they trigger the unhealthy addictive behavior, give them the tools to cope with that thing in a different way. And then you do have a chance against something as so complicated as addictions, okay? Everybody's looking at it from one perspective. It's not. It isn't. It's very ugly. It's the armpit of behavioral science. It's something that nearly for 100 years, people have been racking their brains trying to find what's happening, why it's happening, and how we can do things. And it's an ongoing, growing in science, let's put it that way. It's an ongoing disease. It shapeshifts. It changes. Like 50 years ago, we didn't have online addictions, did we? We didn't have virtual reality addictions, did we? Because we didn't have virtual realities. We'll come up with something in 20 years, and then it's going to find a way to get into people's lives. And if that person is willing to abuse that concept or misuse that concept, we're going to have a new baby addiction in our hands. Okay? It's just human nature. So if we want to be prepared for what's coming and prevent what could happen, there's different levels of prevention, intervention, and all of that needs to happen. And the scientific part of it, we need to carry on looking at it, what it does to our brains, what it does to our bodies, what it does to our psychology, what it does to our social needs and our lives, right? Everybody has to work together. Not only the Narcotics Bureau trying to catch the dealers selling substances to people, or close, casinos or gambling spaces to prevent the disease, not hurting people. That's one side of it. If you don't do the other side, an addict is going to find a way to feed its addiction. It's as simple as that.
And why people want to, why humans want to destroy themselves and want to become uncontrollables and want to get that high from that negative energy? Why can't they choose the right path or try to live life in a positive way, or use the life
Negative.
as a positive being?
Yeah, it's because it's a quick fix.
Okay.
It's a quick fix. Okay, if a person is hurting so much that they can't.
Is it a quick fix, or they think that it is a quick fix?
In their mind, it's a quick fix, and it does the job for that day. Okay, it's irresistible. And they say to themselves, it always starts like this: I can control this. They can't. It starts controlling them. Okay, and once it starts controlling them, their reality is just shifted. Okay, they need help to be able to learn to stop that and deal with life in a different way. That's as simple as that. I mean, when you have a headache, do you take a painkiller for your headache? You do, right? Okay.
I don't take. I'm a sports guy. Like I don't take medicines.
Okay, you don't take medicine. What do you do for your headache?
I don't get headache. I don't think I got headaches from last 1 year or 1.5 year.
You are a wonderful human being, but usually when people have a headache, right, they take something for it. Okay.
Yeah. To fix that is they feel that is a solution. But that is also, I believe that if you keep taking the medicines continuously, that is also an addiction.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, painkillers and addiction, it's been known for a very long time now. That's why some countries that have these regulations, and you just can't go and buy the pain medicine that would actually enhance your addiction more. They try to keep it low, and they try to be very mindful. The medical communities are trying to be mindful because it does have a big risk, right? Let's look at the food industry, okay? For something to taste better, what happens? They put additives in it, they put some other preservatives in it, etc. They put some coloring in it to make it look more appealing. But is it really healthy underneath all of that? It does the work. It makes you feel good, right? I mean, carbohydrates is good when you are feeling anxious or when you are feeling stressed out. Okay, that's the effect that it does. When you're feeling tired, sugar actually gives you a boost, right? So humans, they, by experience, they notice these things actually are helping them. And instead of finding other ways to help themselves and deal with what they're living, if they just go for the quick fix constantly because their lives are unbearable, they're a good candidate, unfortunately. And in the Western world, that is a big problem. And we all know that.
And do you have statistics?
The World Health Organization has a lot of statistics for America. There's a body, SAMHSA, they have statistics. I mean, every country has their own statistics, but I mean, those statistics, how much work gets into it, how accurate they are, it just depends on where and who does it. So a lot of people, when you talk about addictions, a lot of people shy away from it because they believe, it's very sad to say, but it's a human error. That person is a weak person, that they can't control themselves, and they're a bad person. They have a personality disorder, so they're no good for the community. So why would we spend money on them or try to help them, etc., etc.? That is the stigma still attached to the disease, yes.
So, some of the addiction, I mean, some kind of an addiction that you said, which can come from genetics or biological, can be biological or like so how will be the therapy for those things, for genetics or which comes naturally?
Okay. In our genetics, right, we all have a family history of some health conditions, and it gets coded to us, right? I mean, we all know that if your father had a heart condition, you have the possibility of having a heart condition. If your mother had diabetes, you have the potential of having diabetes. The same thing goes for addiction. If there was an addict in the family, 5 generations back even, you have the possibility to trigger the disease and become an addict yourself. I mean, knowing this thing and living a life to prevent it is possible. So that's only one component of the thing, though. That's only the genetic of it. What about the social circumstances? What about the early childhood experiences? What about their coping skills in life? What about their individuality? What about their social circles? You know, if it was only a matter of genetics or biology, this thing would be so simple, trust me. But it's not that. It's a very complicated, really different dynamic when it comes to addictions. That's why it is a hard field to work in. Very rewarding, but hard field to work.
So at last, what do you say about your organization and the service that you're doing to my audience who are listening this from anywhere on this planet?
Please go into our website and try to look at what we've got there. We've got really good videos. We've got really good we have really good blog pieces. We have really good, Goodreads and connections to self-help groups and some material, inspiring movie lists. We have all of that. Okay. We've got a good library that you can choose some books to read, and we'll be adding more to it. I just want people to know that this is not impossible. Okay. This is very possible, but we just have to change the way we deal with it a little bit, because what we're trying to do all around the world, it's not working most of the time. Sometimes it's working for some individuals, but when you look at the collective, it's not working. So if we want to build sustainable programs and policies to actually help people, we just need to try new things. And Myrina is a new thing. Actually, it's not a new thing. I mean, I've been working like this for a long time, but the concept of Myrina as a nonprofit is a new thing in the nonprofit world.
Do you have words to the people who are listening to this and got addicted to something and not able to say to anyone if they are hearing this?
Soon as we open our virtual clinic, you're more than welcome to come and get help from us. But before then, you can do your research. Go to our website, learn about what, how, and maybe the resources that you might have. And once you see what your reality is, try to look for ways to get help for yourself. Because if you don't get help, it's not something that you can deal with it all by yourself. Not 100%. It will show its ugly head maybe 2 years down the line, maybe 10 years down the line. But it will. You just need to how to control that dragon. It's not easy.
So what's your observation about AI that is growing and humans are getting more connected to that?
AI is making us dumber because we rely on it too much. I use AI, okay, but I use AI because I know what I'm doing. I don't use AI for things that I don't know what I'm doing, okay? I don't only rely on AI. I mean, I'm older than you, right? In my day, computers were a new thing, and learning how to do things with the computer and just grow. I'm a Gen X, so grow with that development, etc. It was very, very exciting for us, right? And now it's also very exciting to see this. But knowing AI is not something new in the tech world. It's been out there for a while, but now it's more convenient for people to be able to access it, okay? And like I said, human beings are designed to find quick fixes for themselves. And if you only rely on that, right, you're going to get dumber. And you're just going to have the AI companies, get richer, use our natural resources, etc. But if you're mindful about it and if you use it in a constructive ways, by all means, do it. But don't rely on it solely. It's not worth it. We humans, as a species, our design is so much better than any technology if we know how to use what we have, in our source codes, that we can do a lot and a lot better things than AI. Trust me, I know that.
So AI is one of the most quick fixes in this generation.
I feel like that, yeah, because people start relying on it. They don't fact check. They don't. What do you say? They don't do their research properly. They don't ask for sources. They don't. It's one of those things. They do it to do their homeworks. Quick fixes. it's a good resource, and it should only stay as a resource, you know? But the human being needs to have the control over their own minds and their feelings and all of that. If you use it as a tool, yeah, go ahead. But if you use it as it's going to be the magic thing in your life so you can go and enjoy yourself all day and not take responsibility for anything and stop growing, stop learning, then you're going to become a cabbage. And like I said, AI is going to make money and, even grow to a different standard.
And at last, what's your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I didn't have time to look at it, but after meeting you, I think I am going to start following you because I do believe that you are a very, very smart young person.
So I have done more than 870 interviews worldwide, more than 100 countries experts I have interviewed, and I have interviewed the vice president of Amazon Web Services and Salesforce company vice president, and hundreds of company chief executive officers and CTOs, chief technology officers, many business leaders and psychologists, doctors, police officers, authors, and marine biologists, people who worked in NASA, scientists. I try to interview all kinds of people who are coming from different experiences and different backgrounds and different industries and different countries. So as an observer, or as a person who is solving the problems, who are going through these diseases, these different kinds of diseases called addiction. So, what's your observation? How this kind of and diversified conversations that I'm having through my podcast with different experts, being so young, how this experience is going to be helpful for me and for my career and my future?
You are smart. You care about positive ideas. Okay. You are trying to do what you're trying to do. And I think that is a very good thing, especially for your generation. You are a Gen Z, right?
No, actually, I look like Gen Z, but I'm
You
not.
do look like
I'm
Gen
Gen Z.
Z.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
So, okay, I'm sorry. You are a bit older than that then. If your generation and the generations to come, if you can influence people and get people to come together on a platform where they relate to each other, okay? And if those people can make the connections through you and build things better, then you will be perfect in bridging those gaps, And I think that is what's needed, what you're doing, trying to get people from different backgrounds on different subjects to find the commonalities on the human condition and the environment, and for our next generations, different disciplines should start talking to each other, and I think you're doing a good job with that. And I like your idea. I like the name of your podcast, and I like the idea of going after new concepts and try to bring those people together on a different platform. So maybe we can tackle the problems on our planet better for the next generations. I mean, that's our job, okay? In our genetics, we are programmed to leave the world a better place for the next generations. That's embedded in us. But unfortunately, greed and self-centeredness has taken over that part of us for a very long time now. And if we can recalibrate that, I'm not saying we should all become altruists, okay? If we can recalibrate that in a way that we will have our own needs met, but, we can also do something good for the next generation, then I think we'll be in a better place. And your generation and generations to come need someone to bridge those gaps. I think you can do it. Trust me, I've been a tutor at the medical faculty in Istanbul for over 20 years before I relocated myself to the United States, okay? And I had a lot of students, I worked with a lot of young people, and I can spot gems here and there. And I think you're one of them. I think you
Thank you.
need I think you need to talk to young people too. You need to start talking to young people. I have a project that I want to start talking to young people. I want to give them a voice that they can actually talk for themselves without feeling.
I'm sure. I'm sure when you see my channel, you'll be amazed. The previous interview was, even though I'm interviewing the experts of the various industries who are in the leadership roles, apart from that, I'm interviewing very different kind of people. Like from Canada, I have interviewed a person who is uh,
Is that our
mentally
mutual friend?
handicapped. No, I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
I don't know the person. And I interviewed him. He's an handicapped, and yeah, he's into psychology, and that's something that I have never did. I don't think people, who actually follows me, actually imagines that I'm going to interview a person like this. Because I do technology stuff. I'm an engineer. I do software work. People think that I'm into that profession, but I'm jumping out from my profession and my industry and seeing what is going in other industries and what other experts are doing and what they're thinking, what their mindset is, and how they're building things. So as you said, that there is some common thing in between all human beings. So I want to show that I think that something is working for me. And my mother, who is no more, she actually encouraged me to, start this. And she was the first person who believed that this is something which is going to be very important for humanity. So I'm continuing doing that even in her absence.
Your mother was a very, very wise person. I think she raised you really well. Why don't I interview you? I have
Definitely, I'll be.
I
Yeah,
can
I will.
interview you, and
Yeah,
yeah, let's plan for that. I'll interview you, and I want to hear about some of the things from your perspective. I think that will be a good thing. That will be a good thing.
definitely. That
Okay.
will be first time that I'm going to be interviewed by someone.
I I I used to be an artist. I was a clinically I was before I became a clinician. I was a dancer. I studied arts and all of that. I was a classical ballet dancer. That I couldn't carry on doing that because of my addiction. Okay, and when that stopped, and where my clinical work started, there was this lost time that I needed to put myself back together again, right? And I had the know-how of acting, voice dubbing, and being on stage, etc., etc. So what I did, I took all of my skills from that and I put it in my clinical work. And what came out of it was I did radio for over 27 years. I did podcast years ago. Like, I started doing podcasts at 2007, 2006. Then there were not very many people that were doing that. And I started going on TV, live TV, and doing that, doing this. And I had my own TV program back in Europe. So I took all of my other experiences in life and I just put it in my new path. Let's put it that way. Okay, and I don't believe we are singular beings. We have very many different talents, and if we can find how to combine those talents and make something new out of it, that's what we should do. A person is not only an engineer, a person is not only a podcaster. You know, we could be very many things. And don't stop doing that. That will make your life really, really very, how to say, exciting. It will be an adventure.
Awesome. I'll keep these words in my mind and I'll continue doing this. And thank you again, Jal, for giving me opportunity to present you on my show and letting me ask some of the questions uh, and telling about the work that you're doing and also the kind of support that you're giving to the humans who are getting into the addiction. I believe this will be very useful and helpful for a lot of people. And this conversation, I mean, I believe that it will reach uh, thousands of people, and your work also will be helpful for them, and they can connect you and take your support as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And I
Thank you
will be
again.
sending you an email to interview you.
Sure,
Yes?
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely promise I'll do that.
Okay. Okay.
And
Take care.
can I put this conversation on my podcast with your permission?
Sure. I give you permission. And if you can send it to me, I'll put it on my socials too so we can share it with people. Let's share the good work.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you, Jail, again for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Sai. Take care.
Take care. Bye.